I didn't get a lot of work done today. And I wanted to know, why was that the case? Well, frankly, because I work from home and I've been doing so for 8 years. But sometimes I'm not as productive as I'd like to be. And I wanted to find out if other people had the same challenges or if it's just myself. So, I did a bit of research. Hey, I'm Najeeb. I'm an author, founder, and speaker. I've been working remotely and working at home for the past 8 years. And what that means is I enjoy the freedom of it. While there are a lot of pros and benefits of working remotely, too often the negatives or the cons get left out of the conversation. So I wanted to explore not only for myself, but also what other people had to say of working remotely at home. Let's face it, when you work at home, it becomes just much easier. You can really work from your couch or your bed or even your dining table. Now, part of what that also means is you're faced with the problem, which is trapping. You actually feel like you're trapped at home. Now, if you work at home perhaps 1 or 2 days out of the week, you're not going to feel that as much. However, if it's for an entire week or even longer, you're going to feel like you're trapped at home. And what that kind of feels like is that you're just staying at home and you're not really interacting with others, because if you don't have to go to an office or go outside, you might not need to. And because of that, you're going to feel like it's going to be a closed box or even a trapped enclosure. One of the challenges is habits. Now, if you don't have good habits and if you don't have the self-discipline, it can easily fall into a bad habit syndrome and it's gonna spiral downwards. So whether that means skipping certain conversations or perhaps going out to the gym or somewhere else, you're gonna feel more inclined to not have the good habits and the bad habits. So if you have a TV next to you, perhaps you're going to want to watch a bit more TV than normal. Because you're literally at home, that makes it so much more challenging to simply say, hey, I'm just at home, I can just work a few more hours and then go to bed. Or, hey, I'm already in bed, I can just work on my laptop. And because you don't have that physical switch, the context switch, that becomes much more difficult to really stop your work and move on to your home life. What was surprising is 18% of the people struggled with not being able to unplug. And that's something I've kind of faced myself, which is when I'm really working away at it, one of the biggest challenges is because I'm working and I'm at home, I can easily say, hey, I'm just working at home. So that means I can literally stop what I'm doing anytime, but I can spend an extra hour of work. So whether that means working on my table or even working in my bed, that makes it much more difficult to unplug. Now, while that is the top 3 challenges of the state of remote work, conversely, the other report, which is the Remote Work Report in 2019, had 3 biggest challenges. 2 of them are the same. Communication and loneliness or social isolation runs up the top 3. However, at number 2 is social opportunities. Now, this is kind of related to communication and loneliness. If you don't have opportunity to interact with others, you kind of feel like you get left behind or you're really not in the picture. If you are a remote employee, you might feel like you left out of the conversations or perhaps opportunities for advancement because you might not get promoted because you're not seen as much. So what that means is you might need to spend more time being more active, whether it's on your Slack group or emails or somewhere else. You just need to be more active because you don't have that opportunity, that social interaction as you would when you're in an office. What I found interesting is almost 20%, 19, mentioned that distractions and staying motivated at home is the other challenge, which is kind of surprising, but it's not really, because when you are at home, what you find is it's so easy to really turn on the TV, or if you're having lunch in front of the TV, it's so simple to just stay an extra 10 minutes. And part of what that means is having a focused time and a productivity schedule can help you stay off that. And that is one of the biggest problems, because literally you can do any other thing and you can structure your day based on what's suited for you. One of the benefits is that because you work at home and you can structure your day, you can do errands at non-peak times. So whether it's getting a haircut, going grocery shopping, you could do it at times when it's not busy. However, part of what that also means is your timing changes based on when you work, and that distraction flows throughout the rest of the day, and that also results in you having difficulty in unplugging. Now, I found that with myself as well, because when I'm working at home, I can easily say, hey, I just need a haircut, so I'm going to pop right in, or I'm going to go to the gym in the middle of the day, which is great because the gym's empty. However, the other challenge is when I come home, that means I'm working longer hours, or I'm trying to fill up, and my day ends up being longer. So by the time I actually go to sleep, it becomes much later, or I try to compensate by doing extra amount of hours of work, and that makes it a longer day, and it becomes difficult to detach from work to home life. So what I found surprising in the study is, while this is the case, while majority of people had challenges of working remotely, there is definitely a lot of pros. And in fact, based on the 3,500 people that was surveyed, 97 of them said they would recommend working remotely to others. How about yourself? Would you recommend working remotely to others? Or perhaps even working from home? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. By the way, if you're working remotely and you're struggling with the social isolation part, or even finding a community of other people who understand how you feel like, check out council.club. It's a curated community of remote workers. So what I discovered out of all of this is that working remotely isn't for everyone, right? Now, as much as we think that it is, we'd like to be, there are certain jobs that need physical infrastructure to work. So let's just say if you are working with your hands, you need to physically be there. You might not be able to really work remotely, or at least not yet. Now, if it's something like, let's just say surgery, or doing operation, while it is physical work, there are machines that allow doctors to do a surgery remotely. However, that still means you need to be not in your home, but you need to be at a site. Now, not all industries are there yet, and part of what that challenge is that for every industry, remote working is not right. However, for a lot of industries, especially if all you're doing is working on a computer or a laptop, then working remotely is a great option. However, one of the biggest challenges is social and communication, and part of what that means is you need to not only work better with your teammates, but also figure out a communication rhythm to help you improve it. And whether that means dealing with time zone issues or dealing with logistical challenges, that's one thing. And as well as having more social opportunities. So that means going out on a walk by yourself, or meeting people in your community, or if it's within your company, having water cooler chats, or having happy hour chats, or just conversations, more video interactions that'll help kind of offset the problems or challenges with remote work. Again, this is not for everyone. That's just my perspective, my two takes of working in the past 8 years working from home. What do you think? What did I miss? Is that a challenge that you're facing with? Let me know in the comments below.